So now for segment two of today's show is going to be Q&A with Attorney Paul Tetzel. So I'm really excited to introduce my friend and colleague, Paul Tetzel of Tetzel Law, based in Boston, Massachusetts. Tetzel Law welcomed in two senior attorney, PI attorneys into their practice several years ago. I'm excited to hear and ask some questions from Paul about that experience. So Paul, welcome. And can you please share a few words about yourself, some background about you and Tetzel Law, please?
Sure. Thanks for having me on, Jeremy. Nice to see you again. My name is Paul Tetzel. I founded Tetzel Law, a law firm in Boston that focuses on serious and catastrophic personal injury cases in 2014. A little bit about me. I grew up in Millbury, a small little town outside of Worcester, played some football, and ultimately went to Bentley for undergrad, Suffolk Law Knights, worked at a boutique personal injury firm in the greater Boston area for a period of time, and then ultimately started Tetzel Law in 2014, like I had said. And we are, almost at 10 years of existence, and we've got 6 lawyers and growing, partly because of some of the work that I've done with Jeremy. And we've got a heavy focus, like I said, on serious and catastrophic cases, a lot of construction cases and nursing home cases, but also, your serious auto and premise cases in addition to that. So it's a little bit about me.
Great. So Paul, thanks so much. We have 4 questions for you today. So here's the first question. First question is, what opportunity did you see when we began discussing 2 senior attorneys to join Tetzel Law? What's that opportunity that you saw?
So I think the opportunity would probably be different for a lot of different law firms. But when you and I talked, Jeremy, initially, it was almost 5 years ago. So from our standpoint at that point, it was an opportunity to associate with some lawyers that had a great reputation in the legal community. So that's one of the major benefits that I saw, is enhancing the reputation of Tetzel Law. In addition to that, like I said, we are a younger law firm. We've got a lot of younger lawyers here. So from the mentoring perspective, having these 2 lawyers that have been litigating and trying serious personal injury cases I viewed it as one of the biggest benefits that we could have from this potential opportunity. The last thing I'll say on that particular question is, I think it opens up doors reputation-wise to generate new business. So as kind of an ancillary opportunity was hopefully attracting and continuing to attract the types of cases that we wanted.
Great. And the 2 attorneys, they joined your practice, almost 4 years ago, maybe between 4 and 5 years ago is when they joined the practice. How, as that second question, how is welcoming those 2 senior attorneys, PI attorneys to Tetzel Law, how has it benefited the practice?
So I guess it's somewhat of a segue to what you originally asked me. What I envisioned was hoping that it would enhance the reputation, and I think it's done that. We are handling more serious and catastrophic personal injury cases, the type of cases that we want to handle. I think our overall work product in the 4 or 5 years has greatly enhanced by learning from the 2 attorneys that we associated with. They brought their wealth of knowledge, and we've taken the opportunity to learn from them and enhance the quality of work that we put out there. At least I like to hope so.
Wonderful. And one thing, Paul, that you and I also talk about, and that I experience with other personal injury law matters, is that when tenured trial attorneys join growing law firms, the insurance companies and the defense attorneys know about it too. That is, those attorneys, they have, let's call it batting records, right? They know who's ready and willing and capable and experienced to take matters to trial. So it's one of those other benefits that you and I have talked about. Just curious to know your thoughts on that too, is, how has that enhanced even the value of cases at Tetzel Law now that you've added 2 experienced trial attorneys to the practice?
Yeah, without a doubt, Jeremy, I think it's really helped enhance the settlements and at the office overall, the quality of the cases. It's no doubt been a big benefit to us, just having them on the letterhead and being associated with them. And I think it's definitely a benefit with the insurance companies, but a lot of the well-known defense attorneys that are handling the larger cases, when they see some of these attorneys involved in the cases that we're handling, it certainly helps. And in some cases, those attorneys that we associated with had a reputation with some of the defense attorneys. So just that alone has really helped the practice overall in the 4 or 5 years since we merged with them.
Terrific. All right. So then our next question is, what advice do you have for senior attorney PI attorneys that are considering selling their law practices? I mean, as someone that's acquired, right? What advice would you have for those senior attorney PI attorneys that are considering selling their practices?
So I think the first piece of advice is something that I talk to you a lot about, and I think it goes both ways, is that you have to make sure that it's a good fit for both sides in two ways. I think it needs to be a good people fit. If you don't have a good people fit, that's oftentimes a recipe for disaster. But I think it needs to be two firms that are similarly situated, meaning I wanted to associate with senior attorneys or lawyers that handle the types of cases that we handle. Whereas some other law firms that maybe handle cases pre-suit or a larger volume practice wouldn't be a good fit for me, but might be a good fit for somebody else. So those are two things that I think are vitally important to doing some type of acquisition or merge, whatever you'd like to call it. The other thing that I'd say is that the recommendation I have for a senior attorney is, you should plan ahead. If you do have an interest in trying to scale down or downsizing your practice or retiring, it doesn't happen overnight. And if you just have your standalone practice going, it's going to be difficult for you to take that step. Whereas if you plan this type of acquisition in advance and set it out 5 to 10 years before you ultimately want to retire, I think it can be something that's the best way to go about this particular type of situation if you can't have it the practice going from lawyers that are already at the practice.
Great. Thanks so much. All right. Here's our last question is, would you do it again?
Without a doubt. I said to you, I've said this to you, Jeremy, as any opportunity that comes across my office, I'd certainly be interested in considering it. But the first, I'll say, merge that we've done has gone very well. And I would without a doubt consider doing a similar type of merge again or acquisition again in the future.
Well, great. Paul, thank you so much for joining us. Paul Tetzel of Tetzel Law, based in Boston. Just wish you and your partners and your colleagues great success going forward. Paul, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Jeremy. Good to see you again.